So Hakeem Jeffries should stop calling me names. He should stop trying to fight my boss, President Trump, and he should go back to doing what he was elected to do, the business of the American people in Congress, and encourage Senate Democrats to open the government. And I see Hakeem Jeffries saying House Republicans are out. They're not even here. Yeah, because they did their jobs and they passed a clean continuing resolution at the behest of President Trump to keep the government open. And now Senate Democrats and Chuck Schumer are blocking that to fight Donald Trump. And it's despicable.
So a visibly emotional, visibly fragile snowflake, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, after insulting 50% of this country, attacking Democratic constituents and voters whom she claimed are pro-Hamas, violent criminals, and all sorts of other deplorables in her mind, is now begging Democratic minority leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, to stop calling her names. Like, no, I get to insult half this country, but you're being too mean to me. So fragile and pathetic. What a loser. We have to talk about this because she's going off about this on Fox News. Clearly triggered. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, I want to remind you, it's interesting. Again, it just betrays the utter snowflakery that is at the heart of the MAGA movement. They genuinely believe that they have a right to say whatever they want, whenever they want, about whomever they want with impunity. But, and this is critical, that right is not shared by their political opponents. So they get to insult Democratic politicians, influencers, constituents, voters, blue cities, blue states, progressives, liberals, Democrats, women, minorities, marginalized groups, whatever. You guys just get to, we can insult you and you just take it. But don't you say anything to us. It's the ultimate notion of we get to dish it out, but we don't have to take it. And what's interesting, in that same interview where she's like, he needs to stop calling me names, she doubles down and again calls the Democratic Party, 50% of this country, names.
I sure would, Sean, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to do so. Look, Hakeem Jeffries is simply lashing out because he knows that I am telling the truth about the modern-day Democrat Party. What I said, and it is a fact, is that the Democrat Party caters more to pro-Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. And I sure would.
So, again, she doubles down on it. She says the constituency of the Democratic Party, again, comprised of 50% of this country, tens upon tens of millions of votes. Yeah, think about it. There were only about 1.5 million fewer people who voted for Kamala Harris in the last election than Donald Trump. She's saying all of them, the majority of them, are pro-Hamas terrorists, violent criminals, and illegal aliens. That's what Karoline Leavitt believes. She doubles down. Here's another clip.
They are. Their continuing resolution that they proposed to keep the government open included a poison pill that would have undone what President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill did, which is to restrict illegal aliens from receiving Medicaid benefits. President Trump fixed that in the One Big Beautiful Bill, and Democrats want to take it away because they want these taxpayer-funded benefits to continue to go to illegal aliens in our country. This has been done for the past 4 years under the Biden administration, and the American people roundly rejected it. And you hear AOC, who is apparently the new leader of the Democrat Party in that CNN town hall, say to a concerned American when that American asked, do you want my taxpayer-funded benefits going to illegals? She said that's a Republican talking point. Those aren't the real issues Americans are facing. That is a lie. If you look at what happened under the Biden administration, real Americans, elderly citizens, were facing an increase in wait times at hospitals and emergency care centers across the country because they were putting last in line, and illegal aliens were getting that care and that treatment first. And when illegal aliens get medical treatment in this country, who's paying for it? The American taxpayer. Well, not anymore under the Trump administration. That's why this administration is focused on deporting illegal aliens.
So again, it's worth noting that the Trump administration is underwater with respect to deportations because the American people are disgusted about how cruel and draconian and unlawful and vicious the Trump is going about it, number one. Number two, the other thing I will point out is that it's been a Reagan-era federal law. It's passed under Republican President Reagan, that hospitals can't refuse service to people based on their legal or illegal status. So yes, if an undocumented immigrant needs emergency room care, hospitals have to take them, but that's been the law since Reagan, under Republican and Democratic presidents, under President Clinton, under President George H.W. Bush, under President Bush, under President Obama, under Donald Trump, under President Biden, and then under Donald Trump again. And the one big beautiful bill has nothing to do with it. In terms of Medicaid and Medicare funds going to undocumented immigrants, again, that's not true. This notion of illegal immigrants. Now, if they are in this country legally, if immigrants are here in this country legally, then yes, there are some benefits which go to them, but that's because they are legal, they are documented, they are here appropriately. So again, she's just lying, per usual. Here's another clip.
I sure would, Sean, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to do so. Look, the fact is that the Democrat Party caters more to when it comes to pro-Hamas terrorists and violent criminals. And let me walk Hakeem through the facts of that statement. When it comes to pro-Hamas terrorists, it was Hakeem's House Democrat caucus that voted against a resolution condemning the October 7th attack on Israel.
Okay, so nine out of hundreds of House Democrats voted against that resolution because those more leftist Democrats believed that the language of the resolution was was inappropriate or inaccurate with respect to Israel, which they regard as an apartheid state. None of them celebrated the October 7th attacks. None of them said it was okay when they issued their statements. They rejected the violence. They said it was wrong, but they were like, we can't support this resolution because we disagree with some of its language vis-a-vis Israel. But even if you take her claim at face value, that's 9 out of hundreds. She said the main constituency of the Democratic Party as a whole are violent criminals, illegal aliens, and pro-Hamas terrorists. By definition, even if we take her claim at face value, which we shouldn't because she's a liar, but even if that claim were true, she would still be wrong.
It was Hakeem Jeffries' Democrat caucus that supported and encouraged the pro-Hamas protests that ravaged college campuses and engaged in illegal harassment of Jewish students across the United States.
Now, 22 House Democrats voted against a resolution condemning the protests on these college campuses, some of which indeed went way too far. However, the idea that people should be censured or condemned for protesting Israel, a foreign government, as long as they do it peacefully, is absurd. And again, that was the objection that these 22 Democrats had. They were like, hey, listen, if Jewish students if their civil rights and civil liberties are being violated in specific instances, that's wrong. But we're not going to co-sign a sweeping resolution which effectively condemns protests against Israel. That was the claim that the 22 Democrats made in voting in opposition to that resolution. So again, I want to be clear, even if we take her claim at face value, that they're like, you know what, just we Democrats, we really want, Jewish people to be made uncomfortable, and we blah, blah, blah. Like, even if we take what she is insinuating at face value, it would still only be 22 members of the House Democratic Party, not the main party. Again, remember, she didn't say that there's an evil fringe in the Democratic Party. She wasn't quite so tailored. She said the main constituency of the Democratic Party as a whole, again, half this country, that a majority of them, the main part of them, are pro-Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. None of this is proving her claim.
Of America under Joe Biden's administration. When it comes to illegal aliens, the American people know the truth about that. The Democrats allowed them to flood our country. Why? Because they view that constituency as their future voters. And when it comes to violent criminals, look at what the Democrats support in terms of crime. Soft on crime policies like cashless bail, like...
Okay, so then by Karoline Leavitt's logic, given that Donald Trump pardoned 1,600 violent January 6th insurrectionists who beat the shit out of cops, the entire Republican Party hates cops and they're pro-violence. They love violence. As a matter of fact, many of those pardoned criminals went out and they committed more crime. They committed recidivist crime. So I guess Karoline Leavitt, Donald Trump, and literally every Republican, they hate cops. They're anti-law and order. They're pro-crime, right? By Karoline Leavitt's own logic. See how stupid that is? But that's what happens. These people are pathologically dishonest. And again, I just find it hilarious that while she's saying all that, she's having her meltdown, which we've covered in 2 separate videos, going back and forth with Hakeem Jeffries on social media, saying your mom, when people ask her perfectly legitimate questions like, hey, why Budapest for the summit between Trump and Putin? Totally neutral, reasonable question. Like, hey, just out of curiosity, of all the places in the world, why this specific place? Your mom recommended it. What? All right, that was yesterday. And now you have this where she's going on Fox News like, yeah, no, listen, I meant everything I said. The Democratic Party are pro-Hamas, pro-illegal alien, pro-violent criminal. That's the main constituency of the Democratic Party. But also, Hakeem Jeffries, stop being mean to me. And then The Daily Show put together a really good compilation here, which really encapsulates the hypocrisy and moral depravity of modern Republican leadership. Take a look.
The Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals.
You saw in that clip horrible what she really thinks of working people. They detest you. They detest your values. They detest what you stand for.
Insulting half the country's un-American.
I don't know if she thinks she's ingratiating herself to people by being divisive like this and actually just really perpetuating a false narrative.
Insulting millions of Americans in one fell swoop.
They are Americans and they deserve your respect.
It strikes me that she's pushing people away from what she wants them to get out of her message.
We have a divided nation because people like her, and believe me, she has tremendous hate in her heart.
So, of course, they're playing Karoline Leavitt's quote, but posting the reaction that Fox News had to Hillary Clinton some 10 years ago when she referred to half of Trump supporters as a basket of deplorables. Not all, but half. That was a scandal. It rocked the nation. Fox, like, I can't believe you would say such cruel and divisive things about so many Americans. And here you have Trump's official spokesperson. She speaks for the sitting president of the United States. She's not some random right-wing influencer or voter. And she says the Democratic Party, half this country who criticize Trump or vote against Trump or oppose Trump, that their main constituency, the main group of them, are pro-Hamas, violent criminals, and illegal aliens. So, again, shocking, pathetic, and I just wanted to highlight the snowflakery here. Stop being mean to me. Stop calling me names, even as I mock and insult and attack 50% of this country. These people are losers, and you should make fun of them. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.